Roblox is a game that doesn't need much introduction. While it doesn't need introduction, it may be hard to describe to someone who is unaware of what it is. I think the best description for it would be that it's a game in which you can make other games that other people can play. To me, it's more of a platform than it is a game, because there are so many things that can be made through the engine that it provides to you. It's a really good tool for developing creativity since most of its users are kids. Having the drive to learn to code for Roblox could really help them in the long run. It also caters to all ages and demographics because of the vast amount of different games and developers there are on the site. Anime games are a really prominent game genre on Roblox. There are Roblox games for practically every anime out there, so it's no surprise that One Piece has a ton of them. I noticed that One Piece has a lot more games on Roblox than most other anime. One reason for this could be because One Piece has been out for so long. I could literally make this video 50 times over with a completely different anime every time. So let me know if you'd like to see that, because I love to complain about things for no reason. The two most popular One Piece games on Roblox, as far as I can tell, are Blox Fruits and King Legacy. There's also Grand Piece, which is a paid option. If you're unfamiliar with One Piece, it's about the adventure of a boy that wants to sail the seas and find the greatest treasure that was left by the king of the pirates. During his adventure, he has to recruit people to join his crew and grow stronger in order to obtain that treasure. This is made even more interesting when fruits that grant superpowers are introduced. I obviously gave a very brief rundown of what the show is about, but you can make so many different games from just this one concept, and yet the gameplay for these One Piece games always goes like this. You start on an island and find a person to give you a quest. The quest will be to defeat some enemies. The first time you do the quest, you'll gain like 3 levels. But after that, you have to do it until you get to level 10. At level 10, you find another NPC to give a quest to defeat higher level enemies. You rinse and repeat this, and for some reason people still decide to play your game. You literally have to do these quests because beating enemies just by themselves gives you practically nothing in terms of EXP and money. There isn't much else to the gameplay after that, and I won't sit through hours of this game just to find anything interesting to do. There's other islands to go to, and you can buy different boats to travel to these islands faster, but that just seems like an excuse to call it an adventure and that the game has a lot of content. If you really think about it, it's just a normal map with different zones. When you level up, you gain points that you can put towards stats. For stats, you can either build into melee damage, sword damage, or fruit damage. It's disappointing that there's only these categories that you can build into and develop as your fighting style, because there's such a vast amount of weaponry and techniques in the anime. There's staves that control the weather, slingshots that create different plants, seashells that can emit toxic gas, and the list goes on. You could even add into the sword styles and melee styles. There are 1 sword and 2 sword users in the anime, along with of course Zoro, who uses 3 swords. You have to constantly upgrade your sword if you go that route too, which most people do since having a sword is a lot cooler than punching people. You could just have the sword get better as you level up for the sake of gameplay and convenience, and then use the time you spend on developing models for other swords into making different weapons to make things more exciting. There's also different martial arts that are used that you can have as subclasses in the melee tree. With all of these possibilities, the developers just focus on adding as many fruits as they can with cool animations, so it just makes these other fighting styles feel bland and lifeless. Since the fruits are such a big part of these games, let me show you my problem with them. Forgive my diagram here, but it should be readable. The blue are fruits that are common between both games. You can see here that more than 75% of the fruits in these games are reused from each other. They're definitely the coolest ones, but there's only 6 fruits in each game that are not in the other one. The fruits aren't even original, I'm pretty sure too, nor are they very interesting or creative. Having PvP and PvE depends so much on something you have to quote-unquote explore the map to find. You have to go around and try to find a decent fruit so that you can do AoE or fly around the map faster. It takes away from the other forms of combat like I mentioned before, so literally everyone has a fruit. There's no variety of what people use as far as weaponry goes. While the selection of fruits isn't very impressive, the animations for the fruits are definitely the most worked on part of the game. I think anyone could tell from their glance. Even though they look good, it doesn't really carry the gameplay enough to make me want to keep grinding to unlock the next attack. It sucks that they spend so much time on the animations and neglect the other parts of the game, like the map design. The map is never really all that crazy. They look like stuff that I could model. It's usually a whole bunch of nothing to make the maps look bigger than they are. Making it bigger just makes it tedious to go back to where you were after you died, and it makes it so that movement skills are absolutely necessary. The final thing I want to touch on is that these games are not very newcomer friendly. First off, there's no in-game guide from what I can tell, so people probably have to use YouTube or the fan-made wikis for whatever game they play. I think there should be a way to track where your quests are on a map, since there's no real way to know where your best quest to do is. It can get confusing with so many NPCs that you either can't interact with until you're a high level, or they're just the shopkeeper that you don't have enough money for. The movement is also really slow for the most part. I'm not sure if higher level players get faster or something, but it can definitely be really discouraging to new players when you have to run across the map constantly to do quests. Most of the games have a run button they neglect to mention or is buried at the bottom of the description. Usually the button is left control and you're gonna need it if you want to get quests done in a timely fashion. Next is the starter area, which usually has a lot of people around, since that's where most people spawn in. The enemies are shared between everyone there, so it's real easy for a high level or even someone the same level as you to come in and kill steal whatever enemy you're fighting. You'll have to go to a new server or wait for griefers to leave before you can actually make any progress on your quest. Finally, you can't have multiple quests at the same time. Having to do a quest then go back and reactivate it is just super inconvenient and annoying. It just adds to the constant grind that you're on. To me, there's very little to like about these games. I think the only compliment I can give it is that the devil fruit attack animations are well done. Everything else is just a chore to play, and at that point, is it really even a game? I don't want to be a hater. People play the game because they obviously like it and enjoy it to some degree, but I just wish there would be a game that breaks the mold. And even if there was a game like that, it would be hard to find buried under all of these copycat games. Imagine the AAA competitor these developers could make if they removed the grinding and stopped copying off each other and all collectively made one game. Anyways, ran over. See you in the next video.